You might have to look very hard to find a silver lining from a cancer diagnosis, but writer and registered nurse Holly Jacobs found it in her own journey with breast cancer. 3 years ago, she began learning what she learned on her website. It's called The Silver Pen, and now her blog, her very popular blog, is being turned into a book. It will be published in March by Simon & Schuster, a division of CBS, and Holly Jacobs, welcome.
Thank you.
Really good to see you.
Oh, it's so good to see you.
Because you look so great.
Thank you.
You look so great. But I think your story is going to be fascinating to so many people because you had gone, had a regular checkup, everything was fine, and then a month later you woke up in excruciating pain.
I did. Yeah, I literally
in your breast.
Stabbing pains to my right breast. And as a nurse, I assured myself that this was probably not breast cancer because breast cancer doesn't typically hurt. But I decided to have it checked out just to be sure. And sure enough, I started down the road.
And you were 39 and had no history of breast cancer in your family
No history.
Either.
I'm primarily vegan. I run marathons, happy, healthy, 39-year-old young mother, and it came just out of the blue.
And what kind of cancer did you have?
I had stage 2B.
And describe your treatment.
I had a double mastectomy and reconstruction, followed by chemotherapy and radiation.
And why did you want to blog about it?
Well, to be completely honest, I started the blog to keep my family and friends apprised of what was happening to me during treatment. And an unexpected silver lining was that in a very short period of time, the blog just spread like wildfire. Literally, I had people from all over the world writing to me in response to it. So what started as a way to communicate with family and friends became a source of information that describes the breast cancer experience. And I sort of unconsciously wrote about my personal experiences through the lens of my professional experiences as a nurse and a social worker.
Why do you think it resonated so well?
Well, part of it is that as I was developing it, I thought to myself, I don't want to either write about or read about cancer every day.
Because you don't want the gloom and doom.
The gloom and doom.
You said, yeah.
So I thought I'm going to write about all parts of living with cancer. So on particularly bad days, I would write a fashion post, for example, or I would write about what I was reading or a clinical experience that I had.
You know what's fascinating to me about you, Holly, is that you are a nurse and you always think of nurses as being very nurturing. You said you had to learn to nurture yourself.
Right.
All the advice you were giving to people, you had to see for yourself.
Absolutely, and it's a very different experience being a caregiver on the side of the bed and then moving into the hospital bed. In a very short period of time, I had to learn how to contend with both the physical and the emotional aspects of having cancer. Everything from becoming a human pincushion, because you literally get stuck every other day, to dealing with the sadness and the fear and the anxiety. And what I learned is that you really can't teach these things in medical education. It's only when you experience them firsthand.
So is it a survivor's manual in part?
It is. It is part memoir and part experiential. And so when I write on the blog every day, I write about sort of my experience, how I handled it going through, and then I offer practical tips and suggestions to help people either learn from things that didn't go well with me or what went right.
Like never use chemo, and I felt badly when I read this because I actually said this to a friend. You only have one more chemo session left. You said never use chemo and only in the same sentence.
That's true. And what I
thought I was saying a good thing, Holly.
No, it's true. And the thing of it is, and I write, so on the blog, I write about not only my experience from the patient's perspective, but for everyone whose life is touched by breast cancer or any kind of cancer for that matter. And I offer suggestions like that. And I think what you need to know is not to feel bad. It's things that you wouldn't necessarily. No, it was helpful.
I will never say it again. I will never say that again.
And you know, as somebody who heard that multiple times, I knew that it was coming from a loving place. But it just, again, that the reality of the way it sinks in is very different.
How's your hottie?
Oh,
what does hottie stand for? I love this.
He is my husband of the year, now 4 years running. Yeah, and he's doing great, really great. And our kids are terrific. It's wonderful. I'm in a great place now.
Good.
And he happens to be a hottie, too. All right, Holly Jacobs, thank you. Congratulations.